What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock.
Mike,
I'm Brock, and tonight we're going to switch over to Legends for a little while, and we're going to talk about Hacksaw Butch Reed, who was just announced as one of the headliners of Legends Volume 12 coming out later this month.
yeah, we decided, we have so many legends to talk about. Let's talk about one that's coming out. We did the natural Hacksaw. He's got a couple other nicknames, but Mr. Butch Reed.
Hmm.
And I remember seeing Butch on the cover of a magazine, and he had just won a title, and he became like, uh, and I can't remember which title it was, but they were like, he's now the number one contender to Ric Flair's U.S. Championship.
Nice.
And so, he had shocked a lot of people.
That probably would have been the NWA International Heavyweight Championship, I think.
Probably.
Was that the title for Championship Wrestling from Florida?
Yeah.
He unfortunately wasn't around much whenever I was watching wrestling. I mean, I've heard of him and seen a lot of stuff. My main memory of him is with Doom,
Yeah.
with Ron Simmons.
That,
Man.
I loved that tag team. That was such a cool tag team.
Hmm.
Um,
Teddy Long is the manager.
I know, and I've heard different stories. He was supposed to be the guy to win the Intercontinental Championship from Ricky
Okay.
Steamboat, but he was a no-show.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
And they're like, well, he's got to get it dropped. And Honky was right there.
They
And the
went on
rest
to
is
have the most
history.
historic run ever.
Yeah, the rest is history. So, he missed his shot, and he's done some great stuff. Like you look at his stuff, and he was actually um a solid wrestler. Like, people didn't realize he could actually work.
Hmm.
He wasn't just a big like he got him, and I think Ric Flair were the guys who got the very first five-star match from Meltzer.
Really?
So Butch could work. He worked a lot of matches. He was big into, that whole and he wrestled a lot in the various NWA territories.
Hmm.
He cycled around, good guy, bad guy. I remember seeing a feud with him and Hacksaw Jim Duggan over the name Hacksaw.
Makes sense. He was the natural in WWF, right?
Yeah, they did like he was like the new Sweet Daddy Siki.
Yeah, he wasn't there very long. Only a couple years, I think. And then he went back to WCW, or it was Jim Crockett Promotions still then, I guess. But
Yeah, he uh he like I said, he was an interesting guy to see, and I know the one thing about him is he was one of the, he was part of the class action lawsuit
for
against
concussions,
yeah, against pro wrestling for concussions. And then I'm not too sure what he passed away from. Oh, heart attack.
COVID
Yeah, he had a heart attack, and
related to COVID, I believe.
yep. So yeah, but that's one of those things too. Was he a steroid guy? Could have been. That's may have affected the heart.
Yeah,
But you looked at his list of titles, and he had a lot of titles.
he did. I remember he was on WWE not too long ago for Teddy Long's bachelor party when he was marrying that Oksana from Lithuania or whatever. And I just remember he got locked in the room with somebody, and Teddy Long might have been a stripper or something, and he was trying to get Butch Reed to let him out. He's like, "Come on, Butch Reed, open the door." He just kept referring to him by first and last name, which I thought was hilarious. Come on, Butch Reed, open the door. I forget where he was locked, why he was locked up, but Butch Reed wouldn't let him in.
And I remember hearing a story, and I can't remember who was telling about it. Uh, Him and Paul Orndorff and one other guy were driving from. Oh no, sorry, that was. Uh, I was thinking, got to mix up with Tony Atlas, but yeah,
Also getting a new card. Two
yeah,
new cards, in fact.
yeah. There's he was one of these guys that every time they gave him a tag partner, it seemed like he always had to have the other black guy as a tag partner.
Hmm.
I think his only tag partner he had that wasn't black was Jim Neidhart.
Okay.
And him and the Anvil captured a few different tag titles. Uh, they were probably I never saw them wrestle, but you figure that'd be one interesting tag team.
Yeah.
He was
He was a tag team champion with Jacques Rougeau.
was he?
Yeah. He was tag team champions with Sweet Brown Sugar, Pez Whatley, Pistol Pez, Jim Neidhart. These are all different NWA territories.
Yeah.
Ron Simmons. See, I don't remember him and Jacques Rougeau teaming it at all. From Central States Wrestling. They were the NWA Central States Tag Team Champions.
Now, the one thing I did know about him is I knew he played football because back then a lot of that's where wrestling got most of its
Yeah.
athletes from were from football.
Hmm.
And he was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs,
Oh, there you go.
but he got cut and
Aw.
never played a game. He was a linebacker. Yeah, you look at his stuff, and he's United States wrestling, the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Champion one time, the WLW Heavyweight, like the World League Wrestling one time.
Hmm.
He does have an award in here for most unimproved.
Is that from the Observer?
Yeah,
That's
like
funny.
the most unimproved wrestler, so you just gradually get worse.
I guess so.
Yeah, he won it in 1987. And surprisingly, Jim Duggan also won it, so that Hacksaw nickname might have had something to do with it.
Yeah, it's a curse. The Hacksaw curse. That's funny.
Most unimproved wrestler. But yeah, he had been around a long time. He
Hmm.
he, he had a solid career. Uh, the thing about him, every time they gave him a singles run, it wasn't for very long.
Yeah.
He always seemed to be like the stopgap champion.
Hmm.
He'd be the heel, he'd capture the title, and he was the Iron Sheik. He was like the roving Iron Sheik.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
We got two good guys. We want to switch the title. You're going to get the title, and then
Put it on Butch Reed.
we're going to give it to someone else. And that was Butch Reed's single career in a nutshell. And then he'd lose the title to someone like he because he was wrestling for Harley Race, and he lost it to Dennis McHawes.
Who?
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy, but I think it was right near the end of his career because as soon as he lost the title, he retired
Uh,
and never ever stepped in the ring again. And that was in 2002.
okay.
No, no, and then it says, he would come back for, little one shots here and there.
Yeah.
And they said his last ever match was teaming with Bob Orton Jr. against Flash Flanagan and Ron Powers.
Wow.
I know all those guys.
I think I might have seen this match. I feel like
So
I've seen this
SICW.
on YouTube or something. I might have seen this match. Like, Bob Orton still got it.
Yeah, that'd be one of those things where you're just like, oh my goodness. But then it's interesting that he also signed up for the lawsuit for concussions,
Yeah, yeah,
and it got thrown out of court. So you don't know.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna conspiracy theory angle that one.
No, but you don't have to.
No. I've watched the Undertaker podcast, and he's mentioned a bunch of times. He's like, CTE's real,
Hmm.
but he never points to certain wrestlers, Chris Benoit,
Yeah.
that wrestling causes an issue with concussions.
Hmm.
And back in those days, guys were doing full out chair shots, like you see where The Rock beat up on Mick Foley, just
Yeah. That
pounding
was
his
hard to
head.
watch.
It was like, man,
He had his hands tied behind his back
yeah. Like I uh I suffered, I think, 4 in-ring concussions.
that you know of.
Yeah, that I know of. And some of these guys, and once you get one, you become more and more susceptible to
Right, right.
getting them. So you think of guys, especially when they're wrestling for, Bill Watts, who
Hmm.
wanted that realistic, hard smash mouth wrestling. You know,
And
those guys probably all suffered multiple concussions.
and in those days, if you took time off for an injury, you didn't get paid.
No, you didn't work, you didn't get paid.
Hmm. I'm glad that's not the case anymore. But any dream matches you'd like to use Butch Reed's Legends card against?
Uh, since we don't have a Ricky Steamboat card and I can't recreate he's going for the Intercontinental Championship.
Kevin fight
Uh,
Savage for it.
well, and he did fight Savage in round one of the heavyweight title tournament at WrestleMania.
See who else it would be like a newer guy. Could be a fun feud. You could reignite the feud with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
That yeah, see. That's the thing with this game, especially with the legends. There's so many things you could do. You could recreate, and we got Junkyard Dog. He feuded the Junkyard Dog.
Does he have an official card?
Oh, doesn't he?
I
There's so
don't
many guys. I don't know. I thought he
I
might
don't
have.
I don't think he does yet.
Okay, then I won't say anything.
I'm trying to think. Some others will be fun. Can't
That's it.
recreate Doom. There's no Ron Simmons yet.
No, probably never will be. Um, you could put him against Davey Boy Smith, as they both had almost the same type of style,
Yeah, that could be a fun feud.
because they're both tag guys who can also, work singles.
Hmm.
I, I haven't seen his card, but I'm
Yeah, see
assuming,
what kind of level he's at.
yeah, I'm assuming it's like because his finisher used to be a gorilla press, because he was listed as one of the strongest wrestlers. So he's got to be a
Yeah.
-3 to -4.
Uh-huh. Him against Mark Henry for the services of Teddy Long.
Or team him up with Mark Henry
There
as
you go.
New Doom.
New Doom. Doom 2.0.
And then if I were to bring him into the GWF, because he's black, he'd have to be a Titan.
That's a requirement.
Yeah.
Not so
Oh,
much anymore, but in the early days of the game.
yeah. But yeah, if I brought him in as a Titan, uh, he'd be their gatekeeper Titan.
Okay.
You want to
You
get to
you
Nexus?
get through Butch, you can fight me.
He'd be their muscle, their badass.
He would fit good for that because they've never really had that guy.
No, and I think he could fit well in as that role in the Titan.
Hmm. That'd be a
Just,
fun.
just
We need to make this Fed that we talk about with the mixing in the legends with classic GWF.
yeah, that's what I do with him. How would you where would you put him in?
I put him on an All-American team with Commander Sam. Have him fight aliens.
Team him up with Quasar when they're in the Titans as a football team.
Yeah, there you go.
It could be the Gravity Ball team.
That could work. Or give him a construction worker gimmick. Lean into the whole hacksaw thing. Give him a little tool belt. Just call him Hacksaw. There's not too many people in GWF that have a first and last name.
No, not really. Star, Warrior, Pit, Piper.
Yeah, they're usually gimmick names, which is I like. But yeah, I put him on an all-American squad with Commander Sam. Fight those pesky aliens.
Yeah, you could work out with that pretty easily.
I'll make him babyface.
Yeah, I that's the thing. I don't think I ever saw him as a baby face.
Maybe
Like
the end of the Doom run, very briefly. I think they were good.
maybe I such a tough time remembering that.
Yeah, because
I
that
didn't
that
get
era of WCW was very much unwatchable.
and I didn't we got 1 hour of WCW a week, and if you missed it,
Yeah,
you know you missed it, unless you set your VCR to record,
right.
which not a lot of us did back then.
Mm-mm.
But their finisher, I don't know if you remember Doom's finisher. So I think it was Ron Simmons would do a catapult, and then the other guy would come off with a clothesline.
Nice.
And
Two large men.
as soon as I saw him, I'm like, man, I know when Butch Reed's the weak guy.
Yeah, right. There's a lot you could do with Butch Reed.
Yeah, he's very versatile. You can drop him into your Fed pretty much anywhere and have him
Yeah, he's been a part of
work.
stables, tag teams, had some singles runs. Like he's definitely a place filler for sure.
Yeah, if you got a face champion, he's a guy, he's probably not going to beat your champion, but he's going to give him some good matches to build your champion up.
Hmm. Yeah, it could
He
be
could
good.
he could capture your US title, your TV, whatever, your secondary title.
Hmm.
If he does win a heavyweight, it's just going to be on a fluke.
Yeah, we'll see what his card looks like. He might be better than we expect, but they're leveled pretty well.
Is this his first card?
I believe so.
Yeah, because the art had just come out on the Filsinger Games page.
You can team up with Butch from the Bushwhackers.
Let's not do that.
Make him and Hacksaw a tag team.
Oh, actually, he teamed in the GWF in WWF. He also teamed up with One Man Gang
Really? That'd be a
in
fun
the
tag
game.
team to recreate.
Yeah, so you could definitely do that. One Man Gang and Butch Reed. They're part of Slick's group.
Slick.
So yeah, you read these things, and he would pop into different places so many times.
Hmm.
So there's a lot, he feuded. Of course, he had to feud the Junkyard Dog, and he feuded him in multiple occasions.
He was managed by J.J. Dillon briefly. You could do that in the game.
And Doom faced, they feuded the Steiner brothers, the Road Warriors, the Samoan SWAT team. So they had a pretty solid feud. And then when they lost to the Steiners, they were forced to unmask,
Hmm.
which I think everyone knew who they were in the first place.
Ron Simmons for sure.
And then they beat the Steiners for the. And this is the thing. I thought they held the WCW title more than once, but only one-time champions.
Really?
Yeah,
He teamed with the Barbarian, who also has a card.
yeah. There's like I said, there's a lot of things you could do with this guy.
Hmm. You can't create that matchup with Flash Flanagan and Ron Powers yet, though.
No,
Does Ron
maybe one
Powers have a card? No.
maybe one day we could do it.
Maybe one day.
There was his feud with Gentleman Chris Adams. Like he feuded some odd guys.
He did. He did. I definitely feel like he was oh, we need something for this guy to do. Well, Butch hasn't had a match in a while.
Yeah, and you're reading through his career. I'd say about 90% of it he was a heel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
WCW when they ripped off the Sweet Daddy Siki thing. Uh, I don't think a lot of people even realized they were ripping off Sweet Daddy Siki because he was
Probably
the
not.
natural Butch Reed.
Right.
People were like, "Oh, he's ripping off Ric Flair and Buddy Landel. Look at that blonde hair." No, no, no.
Uh-huh.
For all them, there was Sweet Daddy Siki
Yep.
carried the two mirrors.
Sam Luptak did a bootleg of Sweet Daddy Siki.
Yeah, I've seen Sweet Daddy. I've talked about that on the show before. And I've chatted with Sweet Daddy on the phone. But yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, I wish I would have watched more of him,
Yeah.
but he just either he wasn't on TV a lot, when I was watching it, because being in Canada, we didn't get a lot of the NWA shows.
Hmm.
So I really only got his WWF stuff, and at the end his WCW.
Yeah. That's
And
all I saw of him too.
if I did catch him, it was on you know VHS tapes,
Hmm.
and that's how I knew him. Or you read about him in magazines, things a lot of people don't do anymore.
Uh-huh. Right.
Go to go to your local video store to rent some wrestling tapes.
I used to do it every week.
It's hard going to renting wrestling tapes.
Hmm.
And then tape trading came out.
Yeah.
That became a thing, and buying tapes off of a place that we shall not mention. If you know, you know.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we could probably wrap up our Butch Reed thing
Yeah.
here.
Check out Legends Volume 12, right? That's what we're up to. Volume
I think
12 for
so.
the color sets, which will include Hacksaw, Butch Reed.
Is he? Yeah, he's Hacksaw in that one, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It is expansion pack 12. So yeah, the 12th color set coming out. Plus a two pack. I think they announced. Yeah, it's Percy Pringle and Downtown Bruno manager two pack. So that'll be cool. Paul Bearer and Harvey Whippleman if you're not in the know.
Not in the know.
So yeah, check that out. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button. We'd like to get back to 170 subscribers by the end of the year. So it could be you. If you enjoyed the show, give it a thumbs up. If you have a legend you'd like to see us cover here, like leave a comment below. And if you have some ideas on or memories of Butch Reed or how you'd use him in your Fed, also leave a comment below and check that out. While you're here, scroll on down to the description where you can find all of our friends who make Filsinger Games related content, including the official Filsinger Games podcast roll up, the Legends team's Uncharted Territory, Dizzy Dice from Lee Longpree, solo promoter from Grant Pachoco. Grant is also here on YouTube, as well as Dave Little's Heartland Championship Wrestling, Bucky 749, Brad Plays 81, and after further review, I'm on Twitch 9 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. I usually play a bootleg Fed during that time, so check that out. And yeah, we'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, you know, I know.
Later.